So we've kept going on the bed. It's pretty drizzly here, but the yield is fantastic of our old friends Beauregard. And Barbara, I'm going to start asking you the obvious important questions. What do you do here?
So I manage this site. Shani Jansen manages the whole garden program, so the farm, Moorabbin Garden and overall, and I look after this one. So my job involves organising the work for here, so setting the tasks and making sure that we've got what we need to do them.
Okay, and when did you start?
I started here in July last year, so this is my dream job, so I'm very happy here.
And you were saying earlier that you also work in a community garden in Camberwell, is that right?
I do. Yeah. It's called CamCare, so it's much smaller than this, but similar objective. It grows food for people in need. So.
Yeah. All right. So should we have a bit of a wander around? I just wanted to pan up here because I think sometimes people in Melbourne want to feel like they're very European, and I think maybe this isn't the Europe you want to be, folks. But look at that. Looks like Belgrade in the winter of 1989. Anyway, okay, back to you, Barbara. So what in terms of your role and scheduling, I mean, I mentioned before, just I did some footage before, that this is like the herb area.
Yeah, so because this garden is really close to the kitchens, which are near, sort of diagonally opposite end of Abbotsford, we take our harvest straight from here to the kitchen, whereas the other farm and Moorabbin go via a huge warehouse out in the west and then come back.
Right.
So we're taking the chance to grow things that can be processed very quickly, so fresh herbs. So here we've just recently pulled out some of our thyme plants because we have plenty of thyme. And put in oregano, and then further up we've put in sage.
All right.
We're growing coriander, sort of up where the ladies in the black are. And over the summer we grew a huge amount of basil.
Right.
Also growing parsley, so we're trying to do a lot more of that.
And the chefs, they like using the herbs to make the meals.
Can't cook without herbs, can you?
We can't. No, absolutely not. So it's interesting because when this site was first started, it was all about just pumping out the main staples. But I mean, I guess it's interesting to see that evolution.
So last year, the three gardens combined produced about 70,000 kilos of vegetables, and nearly 90% of that came from Bagley Farm. So they're really the huge sort of powerhouse for pumping out large quantities of vegetables. So we're trying to we do a bit of that, but do something else as well. So up the back and around the side, actually, we're planting a lot of silver beet this year as well, so that we can continually harvest that and take it straight to the kitchen.
In terms of location and convenience, it is a great spot for the kitchen, isn't it? It's so well. Let's wander up here, I guess, and look at some of the, because you do some propagation here too.
We are. We do a bit. We're always trying to propagate more flowers, so we've started planting out along the fence lines.
Oh, right.
A lot of salvias going in down there. Obviously a lot of cosmoses and salvia up here as well.
Cosmos has been everyone's favourite that I've seen on social media this year.
Keeps going into
it
autumn.
Does.
But it's really important for us because our summer crops are all bee pollinated. But our winter crops are not, so the bees still need food in the winter time, so we need to provide year-round flowers for them.
Really important. That's really interesting because people forget that the crops. What are the main crops in summer actually? Obviously.
So in the summer we grow a lot of eggplant, capsicum, zucchini, so they're all pollinated by bees. We also grow year-round. We grow carrot and celery.
I have to say, your carrots, like just watching them as I ride by, sometimes or seeing on Instagram, they're magnificent, the carrots here.
They were fantastic. They were all straight, uniform. Really nice. We grew a lot of them down the back here and just sort of ignored them, so they did very well.
Now, just as we wander up, in terms of soil management, I think I mentioned before that, this is... and I guess the class will see this on a PowerPoint presentation at some point, but this was a horrible site when it was first taken over, an old rail siding still owned by Vic Track, and the methodology was to do some earthworks, level it out, allow for drainage with pre-existing drains that were already here, which was really fantastic. Compact, because I think lightly compacted, or we'll call it compacted gravel, and then plastic on top, and then importing this growing medium, which was a sort of sand, compost, manure mix from memory.
Yep.
And so that's been in for at least 4 years, and sometimes you think, literally just sitting on top of black plastic with the drip, but it's just worked really well. So I think I was saying to you earlier that when we had our first sweet potato harvest here, we were all very excited. We were stomping all over it, and Susie, who was a Burnley graduate, was like, "Chris, where this is out of control. You always told us not to stand on beds." I was like, "Yeah, you're right." So you've been pretty good at that, haven't you?
Yeah, that's our number one rule here. You cannot step on the beds. So we always sort of reminding people if we ever see them do that. It's really important, and we've seen the effect of that of the compaction. It really does reduce the growth.
Yeah. So let's sorry.
The other
Barbara.
big problem
Oops,
that we have here is we've got these fantastic trees along the street and on the other side, on the train side, and their roots come sideways into the beds. So we're always having to go dig a trench along the side of the beds and chop those roots, because they really want to get into the nutrients and the water that we're providing to the crops.
So, note that, everyone. Trees do compete. They are big organisms. They're not into sage.
So further down in the summer, we had eggplant growing just beyond where the sweet potato is.
Yeah.
And the height of the eggplant sort of went along, and then it dipped for a while.
Really?
And then it came back up.
Yeah.
And sure enough, there were tree roots in that spot, so it actually makes it kind of easy to find where they are. But they're really good competitors for crops.
But luckily, elms and plane trees can take root pruning. They don't suffer from it.
Yeah.
Like, they really don't. Oh, kale, obviously.
Yep, so these are our kale beds. They're coming along nicely.
And I note here your little,
cabbage white butterfly
that's
decoys.
Right. Decoys, integrated pest management in action.
Yeah.
Do you think it works?
Maybe.
Maybe. Looks nice.
It does. Yeah, I always say the volunteers like them. But I've seen the cabbage white butterfly land on them, and the idea is that the cabbage white butterfly is territorial. It'll see these decoys and then fly on, but maybe not.
Yeah, it's a bit like scarecrows landing on crows.
Yeah.
Right. Crows landing on scarecrows. Landing on crows would be interesting.
Yeah.
Crows landing on scarecrows. Anyway, all this.
But it doesn't hurt. So
definitely doesn't hurt. All right. Now these, what are these sort of planter boxes here? Are they actually used? Oh yeah, here we go.
We're using them. These planter boxes were put here to stop people falling off the edge of the platform, really.
Oh right.
They're a little bit dilapidated, so we're starting to go around and empty one at a time and repair them.
Yeah.
But yeah, last summer we grew beans in them, and now we're growing peas in them, and flowers.
Yeah.
So they're quite visible from the street, and we're always aware that this site is kind of like a showcase for Fareshare. It's a much more obvious site than the others, so we try and make it look attractive as well. Yeah,
it is such an incredible location in terms of getting people aware of what you do, right? Like it's
yeah, it has an important role in that way.
Okay, a bit of a shade house here. So, are you propagating most of your seedlings if you can, or?
No, we're very fortunate with seedlings. We have a supply of Boomeroo nurseries, so they donate all the seedlings that we need, which is thousands. To include the farm soil.
And so, what nursery was that? Just a
Boomeroo.
Boomeroo, okay.
Yeah. So we propagate some of the flowers here, and we also pot on some of the seedlings when we're not ready for them.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Very good.
Do a bit of propagating, not a lot. We do a lot of composting.
Yeah, wow.
This is really important to keep adding the organic matter to the beds. So we have quite a system and spend quite a bit of time working this, but of course it's never enough.
Right, and do volunteers bring their own food scraps here or anything like that, or you?
No, we're very conscious of rats.
Oh, okay.
We have corporate groups normally on a Friday that come in here, and we really don't want to have them turning the compost and finding rats.
Right.
So we really limit it just to the plant material from the garden.
Yeah, it's a bit
of a problem over here.
Oh wow.
which we're onto Metro to deal with, but
I,
that's not good.
I remember
from a
there
rat
was
point
someone
of
who
view.
lived in there for ages. Is he
Yes,
gone now?
he's
Or?
gone now. He
Yeah.
lived in the end one, and he put his rubbish in this one.
Oh dear.
So
Okay.
Metro's in the process of cleaning this area up,
Right.
but they're not there yet.
He was squatting, wasn't he? He had a
He
big
was spotting,
dog.
with
Yeah.
his dog.
Yeah. The weed, I have to say, just moving from urban agriculture to urban forestry or novel ecosystems or weeds, whatever we want to call it, the ash trees there are unbelievable.
Oh.
And the ailanthus. So that's a fraxinus. You know, it's a extremely drought tolerant tree, but it's very weedy. And you can just see there's like a shag pile carpet there. And you've got the castor oil plants I mentioned before, and also ailanthus, which is globally a very significant, an interesting urban woody weed. But there's even wow, there's a peach tree over there, a wild nectarine or peach. Huh.
Wouldn't want to eat them.
No, so
Yeah, so those ash seedlings are a problem too. These have all been cut down recently
Right.
by Metro because they were up at the top of the fence, but of course their roots are just coming into our beds, so we have to go along the whole length of this and chop the roots. Otherwise, we see that dip in the growth happening. So just chopping them off doesn't really, of course, work. They're just regrowing, and they're a big problem.
they actually are so prolific, and even if my hands are too wet to really zoom in, but they're just covered in samaras, which are the fruits, so effectively the seeds. And a few gardens I've worked in, they actually, you often think of woody weeds just coming up and maybe they're a problem in a year or two, but they can grow so fast. It's like having an annual weed. It's like having a kind of a herbaceous weed come up.
And really hard to dig out.
So, but the castor oil plants are, do they pop up in the gardens too?
No, thankfully.
Yeah.
The ash do, they pop up in the gardens, and if we don't get onto them quickly enough, they're quite hard to get out as well. So,
Okay.
Morning glory, of course, is a problem. We've just pulled it off the fence. It was covering the whole section here.
Same genus as sweet potato.
Yes.
So it's all a bit tragic. All right. And the little greenhouse, I'm always curious as to, these are getting a bit dilapidated, aren't they?
Yeah, the bottoms look like them.
Yeah. They're not meant to be wicking beds, are they? Or sort of? No. Yep.
Yeah, we're slowly repairing them. We haven't got anything in the greenhouse at the moment, but we were using it to raise the sweet potato tubers, slips. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right.
Got Marnie doing some potting on here.
Hi, Marnie.
Hello.
Yeah, you're on the production side of things at the moment.
Yes. Out of the rain too.
Yeah.
Enjoying it.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. Well, I might just wrap that part up there. Thanks so much.
No worries.